Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to trim a bowl. Um, First we have to get it centered. Now trimming is essential, especially when you do throw off the hump, because as you can see the bottom of your piece generally isn't very smooth. And it may scratch a table or a countertop if you slide it with something heavy in it. So you want that bottom to be smooth. Also, you just want to finish the piece. I mean, who wants to flip over a piece of pottery and see a bottom like this? Not me. So, I'm going to start out. I centered this bowl. I just put my finger beside the edge and turn it, and I want that gap consistent between the bowl and my finger all the way around. If it's inconsistent, I'll move it one way or another. I got lucky with this one when I put it down. It was pretty much centered. So I'm going to start with this trimming tool. I'm just going to use the corner of it here, which provides a good cutting surface with not much friction. If I used it on the flat, I find that I have to push a lot harder, and sometimes, especially with a bigger piece like a platter or a plate, it'll actually stretch the clay and push that bottom in, and we don't want that. So I just use the corner of the tool from the inside to the out and just smooth it out first, more or less get it flat. I like to leave a little more on the outside. And the reason for this will be clear in a minute. Now, when I threw this bowl, I trimmed some of this outside bottom edge down, but not quite enough. I like my bowls to flow from the side down into the foot and right underneath, so they're slightly undercut at the bottom. This prevents chipping and gives you a nice rounded corner at the bottom rather than a sharp edge. I'm just going to shave that down a little bit. I am using the flat of the tool now. I'm going to now bring this bottom down deeper, and I'm going to leave about a 1/4 inch, maybe a little less than a 1/4 inch on the outside. Now this allows me to glaze most of the bottom. I can glaze this entire part, and this little foot is going to be the only part of my piece that doesn't get glazed. The reason for that is I like my pieces to sit right on the kiln shelf when I fire them, and if there's glaze touching the shelf, it will fuse to the shelf and your piece will become one with your kiln shelf. The next step, if that happens, for me, is hammer and chisel, followed by angle grinder, and carefully removing the piece from the shelf and then refinishing the shelf. I know a lot of people break the piece off and then just grind. I'm not a fan of the dust when I grind, so I try to keep grinding to a minimum. So the hammer and chisel works well in taking pieces off. Just make sure you wear goggles and you're careful not to break your shelf. Shelves aren't cheap. So this is pretty much trimmed where I want it. Now I'm just going to polish this edge. This is just a metal tool, a nice burnishing tool. I'm going to smooth that out. I'm going to rock it over the edge. And this is the same process I do for my mugs. And then I'll rock it on the inside edge so that I have nice smooth edge here, followed by no sharp edges. These are all nice smooth corners. And then the last step, I always sign down in here with my name and the year that I threw it in. And that's just a personal preference. I like to look back and see what year I threw these pieces in. So that is a finished piece ready for the bisque. Thank you for watching.